short live session. I'm going to read from today's vlog. Um, as mentioned, if anyone caught it, I'm going to do a um, live session in the evening, most likely. It's going to be short and it's going to be, let's see if I can set this up a little bit better. It's going to be dealing with reading from my blog and through the years, no set date. It's not going to be chronological. It's not going to be done every in order of when I post it. Um, just if I feel like reading what I wrote today, and I write every day, um, or if I feel like um, going back in the vault, going back in time and pulling out something I wrote 20 years ago, I'll do that as well. Um, so 20-minute, or I'm sorry, 10-minute live session, and it's again focused on reading. And then if anyone ever has any questions about why I wrote it or what I meant or on the topic of the writing, which is mainly yoga, meditation, nature, sometimes science, but I tie it all together, is what I'm up to. So Burpees Bandit is here. Hey, it's nice to see you. And um, again, maybe 10-minute live session. And this is what I wrote today in my blog. And it was in response to a question that I received of what type of yoga I practice. And I gave my answer, but I thought more about it and I wrote out, um, really, in essence, what type of yoga I practice. And what I really came to was the title, What Type of Yogi Am I? Not long ago, I was asked by a friend what type of yoga I practice. An interesting question that I really had to pause and consider, not wanting to give a flippant reply, but to offer a truly thoughtful answer that would best describe my approach to yoga. After some thought, I explained that I practice Patanjali's yoga, following the guidelines of his sutras to the best that I'm able. This answer always provides me an opportunity to describe the actuality of yoga, its true depth beyond the most familiar aspects of poses and pranayama, that's based upon ethical restraints and personal observances that eventually help us achieve a steady and peaceful state of mind. It was the thoughtful answer that I had hoped to give, meaningful, and outlining the essence of my practice. Yet it didn't really touch upon an important issue. What type of yogi am I? It's not that labels are important, but there are moments of self-reflection, asking myself that question and giving due consideration to the answers that arrived. The Bhagavad Gita outlines 4 paths of yoga, and at one time or another, I've been drawn to every one. My practice is Patanjali's yoga, because I'm drawn to structure and discipline in my life. I love a routine to follow that's based upon an achievable outcome, even if the goal itself has long ago been laid aside for the simple joy of practice. The answer, the answer to this simple question of what type of yogi am I is one it seems without a certain path to follow. Free-flowing to the extent that I embrace the passions of each moment, curious as to how my life will unfold as I wander through the joy of my existence. In one instant, I am a bhakti yogi, devoted to the sheer pleasure of being alive, sensual, experiencing the touch of God through the scent of flowers and the reach of every breeze. At other times, I give myself to service, a karma yogi that's content to aid and comfort others or work within a larger sense of duty for the world. Still, there are also moments of deep reflection, self-inquiry, a repeated asking of my truest self to be shown and understood, a jnana yogi who yearns to know myself through every possible connection. The final path, Raja Yoga, is my practice, but it doesn't fully tell the entire narrative. That's impossible to describe, and there's no need to. I'm just a yogi, and even that is just a story. And that is from today's vlog. Um, just a quick outline. And again, if anyone has questions, if anyone hears this later and has a question, just leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer. Um, the Bhagavad Gita is a sacred yogic text. There is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, the prince archer, before he goes into battle. And Krishna outlines 4 paths of yoga that I allude to here. And the first path, not in any particular order, is karma yoga. Karma is often misunderstood as punishment, retribution, justice. What karma is action. It is motion. And it is the consequence of those motion, of those actions. But it's always in play. It's never set. You're never punished for what you do. There is no punishment. There's just consequences of particular actions that have taken place. If you want better consequences, you have better actions. It's simple as that. So karma yoga is the first. Jnana yoga is the yoga of the mind, the yoga of intellect, of studying the scriptures and practicing self-inquiry, where we ask ourselves, who am I? What am I? And we don't settle on an answer. If we ask ourselves, who am I? And we think, I am Eric McCarty. I am 58 years old. I am a yogi. I am a poet. I am a whatever. Those are just labels. It's not who you are. We want to go deeper and deeper and deeper until eventually there's actually no answer. There's just silence. And when we find that silence, we've arrived at our true identity. We're everything. We're all inclusive. We're without label. We're free flowing. The third is maybe my favorite, Bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is the yoga of devotion. It's when we give ourselves to something larger. And through that something larger, we find our own all-inclusiveness. If we devote ourselves to Krishna, to Shiva, to Jesus, to Mother Mary, what we find is that in essence, we are that in which we've dedicated ourselves to. We are the devotion itself, as well as the devotee, as well as that which we devote ourselves to. We find that seamlessness of it all. It's a beautiful path, actually. And some say it's the quickest path to awakening, the quickest path to, I'm going to use funny ear quotation marks, enlightenment, and the easiest way to get there, because we can all devote ourselves to something larger. And the very last path is Raja Yoga, which is what I said was Patanjali's yoga. It is the 8 limbs of yoga, which have the yamas, which are the ethical restraints that we practice. These are suggestions. We restrain ourselves not because something is bad, but because we want the opposite to occur. We restrain from harming, not because we're going to say harming is bad, although rightly viewed, we could say it is, but because we want peace to grow. We want peace in our lives. In order to achieve peace, we don't harm. Then you have the niyamas, which are personal observances, cleanliness, surrender, studying the sacred scriptures. Then we have the pranayama, breath work, asanas, the postures, pratyahara, which is withdrawal of the senses. Beautiful, beautiful practice, by the way. And then we have 3 paths of meditation. We have concentration, one-pointed concentration, followed by, and these all occur seamlessly, followed by absorption in the object of our meditation, mantra, breath, whatever it might be. And then finally, through that absorption, we reach samadhi, which is bliss consciousness. Burpees Bandit says, if you want better consequences, you take better action. That's powerful. Thank you. It's the basis of karma. I always laugh every time I see a friend on Facebook who is bemoaning the fact of having a bad date or being in a bad relationship or having a breakup or whatever, and they always say, I believe in karma, you'll get yours. Doesn't necessarily work that way. And karma is independent of belief or not belief. Just saying that, I believe in karma, is karma. A great explanation by the Buddha is we are not punished for our anger. We're not punished because of our anger. Anger is the punishment. The consequences of anger, the high blood pressure, the hypertension, the damaged relationship, the self-loathing that we experience afterwards because we weren't able to control an outburst. That's karma. And we caused it. Those are the consequences. You choose anger, you express anger. Some might say anger isn't a choice, it's just a reaction. I could agree with that. But those are the consequences. And we pay the price. If you want to avoid those consequences, you take steps not to control your anger. Sometimes things like that are out of control. But to get to the point where anger isn't part of your natural expression. And you do that through the practice of yoga, through the practice of Buddhism, through the true practice of Christianity, through maybe just breath work, maybe meditation, maybe therapy. But if anger is damaging your relationship, it's also damaging you, and you address it. That's all part of karma. So those are the 4 paths of yoga, reflected in what type of yogi am I. And as I mentioned, I have been drawn to each one and have thought that each one was sort of my path in some way. However, at this point in my life, if I had to pinpoint something, although again my practice is the full 8 limbs of yoga, I'm drawn towards, not even drawn is the right word, I've surrendered to Niskara Yoga, which is a phrase coined by a follower of Nisargadatta Maharishi, who wrote the seminal classic, I Am That, and it simply means natural yoga. It's the yoga of spontaneity. It's the yoga of living an artful life where everything is effortless and at ease, and it just happens. Things spring up, and we respond to them. We live in this responsive, I'm doing hand gestures, moment by moment. Each moment opens up completely on its own, a once upon to never ever happen again. It means everything's a miracle right now and right here. This moment will never happen again. And even now, it is forming into something completely other. We could say that it is the living life in constant astonishment. Just astonished that I exist, astonished that I'm alive and I get to participate in life. I get to have this conversation with my friends. Some I know, some I haven't met, some who aren't watching. So, my friends, I've been meaning to keep this around 10 minutes, so I'm a little over, coming up on 14. And again, if anyone has any questions, just let me know, leave a comment. I'm always happy to continue the conversation. If you like hearing the reading, I would definitely appreciate feedback. If you don't like hearing the reading, I don't need that feedback. You can leave it if you want to, if you feel the need to. But, I write for myself. I have my entire life. So it's all good. Either way. But I'm always happy, again, to continue the conversation. Burpees Bandit, I'm actually glad. Again, I'm going to be coming on around this time. I have a tendency to do things that I decide to do, as you might have seen before, every single day. So I will be continuing this. I really enjoy. I've been doing it in shorts, and I feel like I lose a little something in some of the shorts. I lose the continuity. So this way is easier and it's more fun and I get to interact. So again, I'm glad I came on at this time because it seems to be a better time for you. And it was great for you to pop up. Really appreciate it, my friend. And I hope all is well with you and your family. And I'll see you guys tomorrow evening and we'll pick this up again. There'll be a different reading, something else entirely. Thanks, guys.